This horse here looks really, really spectacular.
Look at him, he's so beautiful.
Gaiath, a Naval, Roaring Lion, Golden Horn.
What a horse this would be to own, to train.
And he's coming home.
It's a 2-year-old race. I mean, I've got a nap in a 2-year-old race. Who'd have thought?
Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview where we're going to be looking at Sandown and one race from Haydock. But before we get into the racing action, Jack, what a start to a week it's been, and now I'm still in delirium. I don't know what's going on.
We're on cloud nine, aren't we?
Really are.
We've just beaten the Germans in a knockout game. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't. And I hope there's so many people watching this who aren't from England who are finding it unbearable. But God, what a time to be alive.
It really is, and we play Ukraine on Saturday. You actually kind of predicted the score on the review show. You said it'd be 2-0 as we uploaded, but it stayed 2-0, which was good. What's the score going to be on Saturday, Jack? Jack's the man of predictions.
It's going to be 1-1 and we're going to win in extra time. It's going to be about 115th minute. It's going to be Kane pop up with a nice header.
It'll be absolutely ludicrous if that actually happens. I hope we don't go to extra time. I'd be so nervous.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a great weekend coming up with England playing and also the Coral Eclipse, one of my favourite races of the season. Now, we are just going to reveal the winner of our giveaway. We did do a random wheel spin. We'll put the video up of the wheel spin on our Twitter as this video is uploaded. But Mr. Lombard PE, at Mr. Lombard PE, you are the winner of the giveaway. So you're going to win 2 tickets to Goodwood and plenty of other prizes that were listed on the tweet. So yeah, congratulations. We look forward to spending a day with him and a mate during the October meeting at Goodwood. Now, let's get into the racing action. Like I say, we've got some races from Sandown and also one from Haydock. Now, we'll start off with the race at Sandown, which is the 5 furlong sprint stakes. It's known now as the Coral Charge. It's a Group 3. Arecibo is your favourite, 7-2. Nahar is around 7-2 as well. Came from the Dark is 5s. Lazuli is 5-1. Keep Busy 7s. Talis Bay is 10. Stone of Destiny 10s and 16-1. Bar those. Jack, a nice healthy sprint to get things up and running.
Yeah, it's an interesting race. It's not one that I'll be going mad into. I don't think there's too much at the front of the market, which is kind of lighting my eyes up, I'd say. I mean, 10 of the last 12 winners were 3 and 4. You got a few 5 and plus year olds up there. Lazuli, of course, has to carry a penalty as a group winner. Keep Busy just beat the fillies last time out. I'm still quite sceptical as to how good the form of the King's Stand is. And of course, Arecibo finished second in the King's Stand. But yeah, I don't know, they went at such a quick gallop early doors. I think anything that was towards the rear of the field got flattered a little bit, and hopefully we'll see that. I mean, I hope Arecibo does run a good race, but I don't know. I think he may have been a little bit flattered. He's a little bit short for me, but there's kind of one angle that I think could be perhaps a little bit overpriced, and that's 4 of the last 12 winners ran in the Scurry Stakes before, and 3 of the last 4 won it, and we have the winner of that in Atalis Bay here. Now, of course, he's carrying just 8 stone 12 as a 3-year-old. Won the Scurry Stakes in 1 minute 0.68 on Good to Firm, and of course that's over C&D, the same course and distance as today. ARE won this last year on Good in just 0.25 seconds quicker. So, I mean, the ground's a little bit better, of course, when Atalis Bay won, but he doesn't have to improve too much, I don't think. I mean, he does need to improve, but I think he's an okay each-way price. He's 10-1, and I'll be happy to kind of keep a little bit interested with him against the field. Yeah,
the ground at the moment I think currently is good to soft at Sandown. That may change with potential rain still coming as we sort of upload this video. But I actually like horse. I actually fancy this horse slightly for the Diamond Jubilee. I like Starman, but Ed Walker's horse Came from the Dark. I think could run a decent race here. There's only a neck separating Lazuli and Came from the Dark in the Palace House Stakes at Newmarket. I thought that was a really decent run. I think Lazuli's a top of the ground horse. I don't know whether the ground's going to come about. I know he's a course and distance winner, but wouldn't be for myself. Came from the Dark, seems very ground versatile, and I could see that horse still improving. I think he's going to run a massive race as a 5-year-old. So Came from the Dark for myself, and Atalis Bay in the Coral Charge, the opening race. Now we'll get on to the handicap now, which is the Coral Challenger Class 2 1 mile handicap. Magical Morning is 6-1. Monthatham is also 6. Ajao is 7-1. Acquitted 8. Ransom is 8. Beat Le Bon, Haydock, Uzo, Pythagoras, they're all 10s and 12-1, and bigger the rest. Now really open this, Jack. It's probably the most open race we're going to look at on the preview. It's going to be a difficult one to pick the winner. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Pythagoras, you know. I mean, I was kind of intrigued by him in the Golden Gates handicap, but they definitely think very very highly of him. I mean, he ran in two Derby trials in his first 2 runs this year, including in the Dante when he finished 6th. Now, he was very keen early doors, and he made a big move quite early on there. He finished 6th. I mean, of course, he doesn't want to stay the mile 2. We saw that in the Golden Gates handicap. He does want soft ground. Of course, we're good to soft in places. I was reading this. They've had 60 millimetres of rain in the last 5 days, I think. But obviously, it's meant to be forecast drier. So I think we'll probably have good soft in places, or perhaps just good to soft. I think over a mile, he's off a mark of 99. He's been dropped a couple of pounds from the Golden Gates. I think 10 to 1's an okay price. Don't get me wrong, he clearly doesn't stay the mile 2. Back to a mile, I think he's going to be an interesting candidate. The other one's Acquitted. I'm not going to be backing Acquitted. I just thought I'd talk about him. Of course, he was second to Palace Pier last year. Yeah. But I think he'll land a big handicap this year. He's entered in so many big handicaps. I think he's going to land a big pot. When it is, I'm not too sure. I think he's kind of at the mercy of the handicapper at the moment. He finished second at Chelmsford over 7 furlongs last time out, and the handicapper's raised him £4. I think that's quite harsh. But the Doyler's back on board. When he was second in the Spring Mile, Doyler was on board as well. But for me, I'll be focusing on Pythagoras, I think.
Yeah, I've got 2 notes down. Acquitted was one of them. I think you're right. Acquitted will be winning a big handicap. I think it would be towards the back end of the season. I'd love to see his horse on Champions Day in the Balmoral handicap over a mile. That could potentially be where he turns up at a nice price. So that's where I've got him noted down. They might get him handicapped for a race like that. But Marie's Diamond's the one that I'm going to go with here. Second in the Earl of Sefton, finishing in front of a horse that I absolutely loved last season. That was Sandonato. And Jack, you remember I couldn't stop going on about that horse. There was one point last season where Sandonato took it up in the Sussex Stakes. I remember. I did, yeah, and I was really excited by him. He literally hit the front. I thought, oh, has he caught him? And he didn't. He had no hope at all. But he beat Sandonato and Global Giant. Global Giant was a bit of a hype horse. I don't think we've seen Global Giant since. But this horse here was also third in a Queen Anne as well. I mean, he's a fairly consistent group performer. Has run a lot of group races. And off a mark of 105, could potentially still prove to be the class angle in this race. And I can see this horse running a big race at, I think, around 14, 16 to 1. So it'd be Marie's Diamond for myself in here.
Just quickly,
go on.
What do you make of the 2 Haggis horses? Of course, you have Montatham, who won it last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Of course, is it Agile? I mean, we've heard it from Oshie Murphy. We know it ourselves. Like, he's just an absolute master of just getting these group horses and handicaps under the radar. Do you think either of them could perhaps be that?
Potentially, it's quite interesting because the Hamdan, I think, they've got 3 horses in the race, which is fascinating. I think they've got some decent jockey bookings. I think Ryan Moore's on one of the horses as well. I think a Fark or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it could be fascinating. Haggis has obviously got 2 decent handicapped horses prepped for this race, and
he's won it the last 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Potentially, they're going to be. They are going to be short on the day. I can see one of them really shortening up, especially one will be well backed on the day. I'm sure, maybe going off sort of 4 to 1, 7 to 2 potentially. But I'm going to stick with my big price selection. So who are you going with, Jack?
I'll be sticking with Pythagoras.
And both given a brief mention for Acquitted as well. Now, a race that we don't want to spend too much time on, that is the Coral Distaff, a listed race over a mile. It's not a race that we got terribly excited by, Jack, is it? No. It's not an amazing race, but we'll quickly touch upon it. Nazuna is 7 to 2. Statement is also 7 to 2. Veil de Grace is 8 to 1. God, there's a lot of them at 10 to 1 here. Auntie Bridie, Aurea, Illicato, Ready to Venture, Seattle Rock, Shine For You, they're all 10s, and 12 to 1 and bigger the rest. Now, I'm just going to give a quick mention for the horse I like, and that'll be the favourite here. 3 1/4 lengths in front of Statement. I mean, I thought that was good enough on good to soft ground that day at Epsom. I just think this horse is far too good for this lot. I think the horse is potentially actually going to shorten up. I think a lot of bookmakers were going sort of 2 to 1, but I just think last season as a 2-year-old, I thought there's some decent form there for Nazuna. I think she'll be fairly tough to beat. Have you got one noted for the race, Jack?
Yeah, I've got one noted again. This doesn't. I can't really make head nor tail of this race. I won't really be backing anything in it for sure. I mean, Nazuna got the better of Statement last time out at Epsom. Obviously, Statement didn't really like the course at all. Lost her front shoe and didn't want to stay the mile, and I think it was half a furlong as well. But I mean, for me, she has the best bit of form in the race, which is the second in the Fred Darling. Now, if you look at that, I think that's the best piece of filly form we have this year, 3-year-old filly form anyway. You got Alcohol Free, who won the Coronation. You got Vadream, who was third in the Jersey. You have Prima Baccio, who's now a listed winner and going to go on from there and is the best miler in the country. Yeah, so yeah, it's a serious bit of form, I think. Does Statement want a mile? I still don't think so. I think she wants 7 furlongs.
Yeah.
You've you've got Ready to Venture and Auntie Birdie. They both have Tom Marquand jocked up, so it'd be interesting to see which one doesn't go here. Ready to Venture, of course, won't want the ground soft. We saw that when we saw her at Goodwood. But the one which intrigues me such as Aurea, Oshie Murphy's ride. Now, she's only had the 4 starts. She was impressive at Kempton over a mile on just her second start. She then stayed on behind Creative Flair over a mile on her penultimate start. And then Creative Flair, of course, went on to win a listed contest. And she was ahead of Ready to Venture that day. And then, at Ascot. And then she's a half-sister to Beat the Bank and Chill Chill, your beloved Chill Chill. So she clearly wasn't going to stay a mile and 2, which she didn't last time out. So I think her returning to a mile, she perhaps could be an each way angle, but for me, I'll be leaving it alone.
Okay, yeah, it's a race that Jack and I didn't really want to touch too much, but that's a brief overview of that one. Now, before we get on to the big one, we'll just quickly go to Haydock for the Lancashire Oaks. It's the Group 2 over there, over a mile and a half for the fillies. Now, Alpinista's your short price favourite here at 2-1. Dubai Fountains 5-1, Mystery Angels also 5, Tribal Craft is 11-2, Katara 6s, Barani Star, Calvaletta, La Luna 10s, and then we're looking at 12-1, 14-1 and bigger the rest. Jack, who are you siding with over at Haydock?
I think it will be Alpinista for me. I mean, I love Cabaletta. I'm going to start there because I do love Cabaletta. She was second in the Lily Lancashire, of course, to Embahar, second to Subjectivist, beaten, I think it was 15 lengths later in the season. I'm sure we'll be seeing her at Glorious Goodwood. I'm looking forward to seeing her. She's a bit of a cliff horse for mine, just as a love affair more than anything else. But yeah, I think this does revolve around Alpinista. The last 8 winners have all been 4 years old. She's the only one who's 4 from the top of the market. I mean, she was second to Love in the Yorkshire Oaks. Like, yes, she was beaten 5.5 lengths, but she was second, about 2 lengths ahead of One Voice, who, of course, was second in the Natter to the beloved Fancy Blue.
Yeah.
She pulled 14 lengths clear of third at Newmarket, and she showed a good attitude to win at Goodwood when I thought she'd need the run this season on her only outing. So I think it's all about her. Will I be diving in at 2-1? I don't think so. The other one is Dubai Fountain. I'm just kind of...
I can't get to grips with this horse.
Do you give her another chance? I mean, she has exceptional juvenile form. Yeah. She was 4th in the Fillies Mile. She was on the receiving end of a Franny Norton belter at Chester, I think. But it was just too bad to be true in the Oaks. Now, the only 2 which finished behind her in the Oaks is Zayada and Willow. And, of course, they've come out to win Group 3 and listed honours since. So, I mean, what do you take out of that?
It's a really interesting one. I mean, Alpinista, I think it's going to be hard to beat. The one I found interesting on the entries was Trisha for Joseph O'Brien. Now, the last time we saw this horse actually win was actually in England. Joseph brought it over for a listed race. I think it was the Beckford Stakes at Bath, which was a really interesting place for Joseph to send a horse. But won that day on similar ground conditions potentially that the horse is going to get this weekend. That was a win by 5 lengths and actually beat Tribal Craft, who's in here, and at half the price of this horse. And that was a 5-length beating of Tribal Craft. So I do think with this horse being able to stay further as well, was consistently run over a mile and 6. So I just think this horse, there's a lot of pace in here, potentially with the likes of Mystery Angel running here. And I just think that this horse might be set up to be staying on late. So if Joseph does decide to bring Trisha over, I'd definitely give her a huge chance at sort of 14-1. But I'm with Jack. I think Alpinista is definitely going to be the one to beat in the Lancashire Oaks.
Just a quick one as well. I see Ben Curtis isn't jocked up for Mystery Angel, so that would be a big concern for me, how much George Bowie kind of fancies her for it.
Yeah, Ben Curtis going elsewhere for I know, so it'll be interesting. Now, we move on to the big one. Like I say, one of my favourite races of the season. It's the 3:35 at Sandown. It's the Cora Eclipse over a mile and a quarter. Group 1. The recent Roll of Honour, I mean, it includes the likes of Gaiath, Enable, Roaring Lion, Golden Horn, Nathaniel, See the Stars. You can keep going back. It has one hell of a Roll of Honour. Now, the betting currently looks like this. We've only got 7 runners. Potentially we could have less dependent on the ground. But St Mark's Basilica is your favourite French Guineas and French Derby winner. Mishrif is your second favourite Shima Classic, Saudi Cup, French Derby winner. Beat Chronogenesis actually in the Shima. Chronogenesis has actually booked his place in the Arc and the Breeders' Cup from what I know. That horse there is around 15-8. A Daeb, Aussie Specialist, Kipco Champion Stakes winner, and all-round Mud Warrior at 4-1. That'll be a fascinating one. See if the rain comes for that horse. Armory, Huxley Stakes winner, Prince of Wales 3rd, and not quite as good as Sir Dragonet at 5-1. Wonderful Tonight, the Hardwick Stakes winner. Not sure this horse can be running, but a live Arc contender, and that horse is currently sitting at around 12-1. A nice price, about Wonderful Tonight if the rain does come. Japan, Derby third from 2019, Ormond Stakes winner, and was a massive Ballydoyle hype horse at the time. I remember this horse as a 2-year-old and 3-year-old, a massive hype horse. That horse around 16 to 1. And then the outside of the lot is El Drama, D Stakes winner, beating the amazing Future. It's not coming up.
Come up. What a shame.
There we go. No, we're there now. The Future Sussex Stakes winner, apparently.
It's Maximal. Look at him. He's so beautiful.
I wonder if we can get Maximal's name into every single video up until.
I can try. Honestly, look at him. He wants a mile.
El Drama beat Maximal, and you're telling me that horse there is going to win a Sussex Stakes.
So the Coral Eclipse, eh?
Yeah, we'll get on with it. I actually fancied Armory at the early stage of this. If the ground was good, I thought Armory would be a cracking bet in here. But I personally, Jack, I think it revolves around the top 2 in the betting. And I think we're going to see, St Mark's Basilica show he's the best 3-year-old colt out there at the moment. I mean, the performances in the French Guineas and the French Derby have been so impressive. I know a lot of people have come out and said he's the only real colt that's excited. I mean, I know we've had the likes of Adea and Hurricane Lane, but this horse here looks really, really spectacular. And with the allowance, I think he's going to take some beating. What about yourself?
I'm gonna oppose you with the other one at the top of the market, Mishrif, the Globetrotter himself. Now I know he has to give St Mark's Basilica £10. That's an awful lot of weight, but for me, I'm just not sure what the ground's going to be like. I think he's going to want it really soft. I mean, he's had it soft and very soft over in France recently. And as well, I'm not too sure the depth of that form. I know Poetic Flair was behind him in the French Guineas, but of course that was on horrible ground. I'm just not too sure. I mean, what was it? Poetic Flair was, of course, behind him in the French Guineas, but then the second and the third in the French Guineas. I mean, the third's recently finished 5th out of 6th in a Group 3. You have Sealaway just behind him in the Jockey Club. I mean, I know he was asserting himself there, but for me, I think Mishrif, I mean, what a horse this would be to own, to train. I mean, he's so versatile. I mean, he could literally go anywhere, couldn't he? I mean, I think the form of the Shima Classic's working out well. I mean, Chronogenesis has gone and won a Grade 1 in Japan. I mean, I'm not exactly a Japanese form warrior.
They'll be telling you that horse is going to win the Arc. I can tell you that now. Japan will be all over for Chronogenesis for the Arc. But.
Yeah, and of course, Love's Only You won a Group 1 in Hong Kong. I mean, he's giving St Mark's Basilica a lot of weight, but John Gosden's won this 4 times in the last 9 years, 2 in the last 3 years. Aidan O'Brien hasn't won it in the last since 2011. So I just think Mishrif's got a little bit ahead of him there. I mean, as you were talking about Armory as well, I do love Armory. I am going to question Shamie Heffernan's ride on him in the Prince of Wales. I don't actually think he wanted to burst the love bubble. I mean, he went 2-1 on in play and just didn't find that much, and I don't think Shamie was asking him for everything he could have given. Will he come on for that? Perhaps. I mean, I think his run at Chester was a cracking run. He defied the pace bias to come from the back of the field. But again, how deep is that form? You had Sangarius in second, of course. He was dead last in the Prince of Wales. But for me, it does revolve around the top 2. There's only 7 runners, so I don't think anyone can really get involved each way when it is those top 2. And hopefully Mishrif comes out on top.
There we go, taking each other on at the top of the market. Just quickly, how many horses, because I know a lot of trains have come out, even Menuzio, who trains wonderful tonight, has come out, so it's been fairly disappointing with a race of this nature having only 7 entries, but there's every chance this could go down to 4 or 5. You never know on the day with, I mean, the likes of Adeb, I think we will see Adeb run. I mean, Adeb is a bit of a mud warrior, but the likes of Wonderful tonight, I know Menuzio's put this horse in there, I'm not 100% sure the ground's going to be ideal for that horse.
He said the plan is that they're not going here.
Exactly. It's a bit of a precautionary entry from what I see. This is what I mean. I mean, we're seeing these, cracking Group 1 races, and we might be seeing some decent horses, but I'm just not sure. I mean, you could have had so many trainers throw horses in there and potentially pick up a little bit of prize money. What are your thoughts on sort of the entries nowadays and sort of the lack of horses wanting and trainers wanting to take on these top class horses?
For me, I think to be the best, you have to beat the best, and you can't beat the best when you've got the worst in there. I mean, if you kind of open it up to as many as possible, and then I just think there'd be too many hard luck stories, and you may not actually get to see the best, be the best. And I don't know, I think the small fields, to an extent, they're not good. I mean, you look at the King George last year, was it 3 runners? That was a joke, but I think 7 runners, you can still have a good ding-dong battle. I mean, the Sussex Stakes last year was at 8 runners, I think, and I think that was a cracker of a race. Of course, Mahathir getting out on top, but I don't know. I think there's a middle ground. I think 7 runners is kind of to the minimum of the capacity, because of course then you take each way kind of out of the equation, especially when you've got 2 at the top of the market like here. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, it is fairly disappointing. You'd like to see some decent entries. There's plenty of horses who could running this race. There are plenty of decent horses that trainers could have come here and said, look, we'll have a go at the Coral Eclipse, but we just haven't seen it. If you look back at it throughout the years, there's been so many runners. You look at the replays of so many of these older races, especially See the Stars race, there were so many entries in that, and it's, you know, that's what you kind of want to see as a racing fan, all these top class horses, and hopefully we get that with some latter sort of group races throughout the season, especially like the Sussex. You know, you could have those top horses like Palace Pier and Poetic Flair. They could be sort of at the top of the market, and no trainers wanting to take them on. That'd be disappointing, you know, especially at Goodwood. You can get hard luck stories. The more entries, the more difficult it becomes for those top two. So it'll be really fascinating, and I think sort of is something that will be looked at, and sort of a lot of the BHA will try and encourage a lot of trainers in, especially with prize money, and that's a big topic as well, but we'll probably deal with that on a review or something in the future. But you're with Mishriff, and I'm with St Mark's Basilica in the Coral Eclipse. Now, yeah, like Jack said, I completely agree with what you just said there. You've got to beat the best to win everything, and England have proved that. No matter who we would have played in Group F, we would have won, because all of them seem to have gone out. That group of death was the group of death, because they're all gone, and it's coming home. Just thought I'd get that in. We'll see how many times we can get that in as well before the final, when we go and win it against Italy, and we win 2-0.
What we don't do on this is tell them the obvious, and obviously people already know it's coming home.
Oh, so yeah, no, we won't. Sorry, yeah.
It's like Maximal winning the Sussex Stakes. They know it's going to happen.
Coming home. Right, that's it for our preview for this week. We're going to have our weekend review that will come to you on Tuesday, and our big Oh, you got your nap of the weekend.
I have a
Jack's
nap.
I forgot about this. Now this is one. Focus on this. Jack doesn't often do this, so no pressure.
I have a nap of the weekend, and it actually comes on Friday. So if you're not watching this on Thursday and you've left it till Friday, it's a shame, because you've just gone and won. But it's in the Sandown. It's at Sandown. It's the listed Coral Dragon Stakes. It's a 2-year-old race. I mean, I've got a nap in a 2-year-old race. Who'd have thought? Now you've got the Windsor Castle debutant Kaboo, who of course was all the rage, and he finished 6th, and it was a great run. That I think it was 5th or 6th. It was a great run that day. That was on good to firm ground. This is currently we have soft ground at Sandown over this trip. Now I don't think he's going to like that at all. He's being installed as the 11-4 favourite. I know William Hill are only the ones to price up at the moment, but at the time the video's out, there'll be more. And I will be taking him on with Instinctive Move, who's 3-1 for, of course, the formidable forces of Clive Cox and Adam Kirby. He won really nicely at Bath on debut by 2 lengths, and of course was fancied for the Norfolk, was 7-1 before he got upset in the stalls, banged his head, and had to be withdrawn. Now they clearly think a lot of him, and I think he's definitely worth taking on Kaboo at the head of the market. 3-1's not a mouth-watering price, but I think he should be about 7-4, 15-8. So there we go.
There you go. Jack's nap of the weekend coming from Sandown on Friday. I can't believe I was going to skip it.
I can't believe
that.
it.
Everyone would have been absolutely fuming. But that is finally it for our preview. Like I say, our weekend review, that will come to you on Tuesday, and it has been confirmed. I know we were initially looking to do our Glorious Goodwood Festival preview from the top of Trundle Hill, looking down on Goodwood, but we're now going to be inside Goodwood and hopefully have some really exclusive footage as well. Try and get some sort of footage around the ground, see what it's going to be like during the Glorious Goodwood Festival. But Jack and I are going to be there for our 2-part preview. Hopefully we'll have some guests sort of streamed live or some videos that we can share with you guys. So we're really looking forward to that. Let us know down below in the comments who you're fancying this weekend. Do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you on Tuesday. Thanks for watching.